I'm Emmanuel and welcome to my workbench and welcome to another Monday video on the state of my collection. Today we are doing quarters, and yes, there are 2 volumes on my main in my main book for quarters, and there are 4 for the my coin roll hunting albums. Before we get into it, let's have a look at this month's giveaway. This month's giveaway will be this newly issued 50th anniversary of the CN Tower. And all you have to do to be eligible to win this coin is leave a comment down below, and I will be happy to mail this to you, to a winner, early next month. So let's get right into it. Set these guys aside and we'll start with my first book. So the first book goes all the way to the issuing of quarters in Canada. So this book, I did not buy one with the dates printed, so I had put in the dates myself. And it starts in 1870, and on the first page, much like the dimes, this book is empty. However, going into page 2, we have the quarters here that I have. The oldest quarter is a 1903. I have a 1905, 1907. These are pretty slick, but the dates are readable. 1910 and 1912. Let's have a look at the design. The 1903 seems to be the better coin. You can see it says 25 cents with the date below and a ribbon over here. Let's have a quick look at the obverse on these coins. These guys are, like you see, it's pretty slick. These are King Edward VIII over here, these 3. And these 2 are facing the other direction. So this one is King George V, and this is the last King Edward the 7th. I said the 8th, King Edward the 7th. And here is King George V facing the opposite direction. The next page. So these early ones were sterling silver, 92.5% silver, and eventually transitioned to 50% silver. I don't have the date of that transition, but I'll put it down here. This is the date where coins in Canada transitioned from sterling silver to 80% silver. I have a 1918 on this next page, 1919, 1927, 1930, 1932, 1934, 1936, and I believe 1937 was the first year of the caribou version of the coin. There is a variety in 1936 dot over here, and I have down here at the bottom 1938, 39, 40, and 41. So I have all of the first. So let's have a look at the design again. Let's see here. This one is probably the best one that I have. There you go. That's the best design that I have. Of course, we're familiar with the caribou. And let's have a look at the obverse on the opposite side. So we have, again, King George V over here. And when we go to the caribou quarters, we transition over here to King George VI. This one is actually pretty good shape. Very cool. The next page and the final page in this book goes from 1942 to the 1952 coin. The only one I am missing here is the 1946. I have all of these. So if 1937, I believe, is the first year of the caribou quarter, that means I am only missing 2 of these early silver quarters to complete the set. And so what we got, 1942 all the way to 1952. 1952 has the low relief and high relief versions, and 1947 has a maple leaf version as well. Let's see here, right after the date, you can see a maple leaf there. There's a variety where the maple leaf, due to dye deterioration, looks more like a dot. I didn't put that in the book because I only want one of each of the dates. Of course, if I find a variety, I'll have space to put it in. But this is the transition from when India became independent, and this is the coin that transitioned from the on the obverse up here where they say, let me see if I can get a good focus here, where it says King. By the grace of God, King and Emperor of India, all the way over here where it says just by the grace of God, King, and of course the all of these end with King George VI. That's the end for this book. Now you might see other silver coins here. this was my lousy attempt with using a silver pen to write the dates. I much prefer the labels, so I had to remake them. So ignore these dates. But these are some of my extra quarters over here, extra silver quarters that I've found coin roll hunting. It's not all of them, but it's some of my better, less slick ones. And so I have 3 whole pages here, or almost 3 pages of silver quarters that I just keep here for storage. And so let's go to the second book. The second book, I needed the book because, as you can see, the second book is pretty packed here with all of the commemorative coins. This book is pretty full, so let's start right away. We're still in silver on this page from 1953 to 1968 over here. This is the last silver coin. 1968 was the transitional year where they went from silver to nickel, and so these last 3 here are nickels. Nickel coins, I should say. And all of these have the varieties indicated on here. The shoulder fold, no shoulder fold variety. This is when they started with Queen Elizabeth II with the laureate portrait on the obverse. We'll see later. And it looked like she was naked. So they decided to redesign the coin with a shoulder fold. The main way to tell the difference between these two is to look at the obverse and look at the font that is used. And one of these has a serif font and one has a font without serifs. Here is a really brilliant example of of the silver quarter here. This one is AU, beautiful shape. And of course, 1967, the coins had rotated. Let me get a shot here. 1967, the 50%. It might be 80%, but the 50% Bobcat on the Centennial coin. These coins were issued both in 80% silver and 50% silver. There is no way to test the coin short of using one of those metal metal content detection devices. 1968 had 50% silver and nickel coins, and then of course 1969 and 1970 over here. 1970 being one of the key dates in quarters. Moving on to the obverse. So we see over here, let's have a quick look at this one over here, is the laureate portrait. If I can get less glare there, the laureate portrait. Beautiful example of the laureate portrait over here. And of course, the other one over here, where is it here? I'm all tangled up. There you go. And this is there you go, the tiara version of the bust of Queen Elizabeth II. Moving on, we have 1971 to 1988 on this page. There is one missing in here, which is the RCMP commemorative with the large bust. I have never found one. 2 versions of the 1978, which are quite common, the large denticles and the small denticles variety. So let's have a quick look here at the Mountie quarter. Very cool. We see these quite often. Going on, the obverses here don't change, so I'm not going to bother with the obverses. The only thing, the large bust obverse which would go over here for the 1973, what they did is they retooled the die, and the obverse went from a larger sized obverse to a smaller sized obverse for the following coin. So they reduced the size of the obverse, and that's why some of the 1973s were struck with the old 1972 obverse. Next page, we start with a lot of commemoratives here, 1989 to 1996, and we have the provincial quarters here and the territorial quarters to celebrate Canada's 125th anniversary. 1992 also had a double date quarter. These guys are hard to find. Some of the 1992 double dates are easier in the dimes and nickels to find, but the quarter, I think I bought this one. I don't think I've ever found one. Coin roll hunting, I may have found one, but this one I bought, it looks AU. So let's have a look here. So here you go. We can see the double date there, 1867 to 1992. And then of course the quarters here, we have New Brunswick, Northwest Territories, Newfoundland, Manitoba, Nova Scotia, let's see here, Nova Scotia, Quebec, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, and then over to the 1993 back to the regular design. This is the transition year right over here, where they transitioned in 1992 or 1991, I should say, or is it 1990? 1990, they transitioned to the crowned obverse that you have right there. Next page, 1997 to the year 2000. So lots of commemoratives over here. Now, starting in 1997, the Royal Canadian Mint did not, from 1997 to 1999, they did not produce any Caribou quarters. All of these were taken out of sets. I believe I might have found them in 1997, but all of these other ones would have come out of sets. The 1999p is the steel-plated, nickel-clad coin that they were distributing to vending machine owners to test. I have never found one of those, but I do have one of these quarters with the W mint mark on the obverse that I purchased off of Facebook or eBay. And then in 1999, they started with the first Millennium series. There's one for every month from January to December. And then 2000, they started the second Millennium series that goes on various themes. So let's look at these obverses here. So I am missing the 1998 and I am missing the 1999p. So here we go. We have January, February, March, April, May, June, train on the coin. July, August, September, October, November, December. And then we have pride, we have ingenuity, and we have achievement. Let's look at the obverses on these coins. The only obverse I really want to look at here, we'll look at two of them. One is for this W quarter, where let me get this, you can see right here in front, right next to the A there, you can see the little W for the Winnipeg Mint. And again, the obverse for the Millennium coins has the word 25 cents under the bust of the Queen instead of being on the reverse side. Continuing on, we have the rest of the 2000 series over here. I do not have a Circulation 2000 Caribou. I have the Winnipeg minted, the one with the Winnipeg mint mark for 2000, and then we go 2001 all the way to 2004, and we will have various commemoratives to look at over here. There's also a 2003 that has the Winnipeg mint mark, so we'll look at these. So continuing on, we have health, natural legacy, harmony and celebration, family, wisdom, creativity and freedom, community. And then we have the W minted mark here. Here's for Canada Day. It's a little upside down here. We have a maple leaf for 2002, which is also celebrating the Queen's Jubilee. We'll look at that. And 2003 is where they transition from the crowned portrait of Queen Elizabeth to the uncrowned portrait. We'll have a look at that obverse. And 2004, there is, this is the one with the ship on it to commemorate the first settlement in Canada. So let's look at these obverses over here. Let's see here. So we have the W mint mark over here on the year 2000. We can see it right next to the A. We have the commemorative Golden Jubilee double date on the obverse side with the P composition mark over here. And finally, the 2003 was when they started with the uncrowned portrait, and we have the WP mint mark over here on the new uncrowned portrait. That is the obverse that continued on till the death of Queen Elizabeth II. 2004, we have our first colorized coin, the world's first colorized coin, celebrating Remembrance Day. We have the centenary of Alberta and Saskatchewan over here, Year of the Veteran. 2005 had 3 commemorative coins. We have the pink ribbon breast cancer awareness, the Medal of Bravery right over here, and then we start with the Olympic coins. which these go from 2000, issued from 2008 to 2009. The 2007 regular issue 2007 was very low mintage, and so I'm glad I have one. I most likely purchased this off of Facebook or eBay. So let's have a quick look at these. Since the obverses are all the same, we're not going to look at the obverses anymore until we get to the King Charles versions, but we have a really excellent example of the 2004. You can see here that the puppy is not centered, but the color on this one is excellent. Usually the color fades quite badly. Here is the breast cancer one. Alberta with an oil derrick. In Saskatchewan, I'm not going to be rotating these. A little bird on a fence here. We have the veteran right over there, and then the Medal of Bravery right here. And then for the Olympics, let me zoom out a little bit here. We have curling, ice hockey, wheelchair curling, biathlon, alpine skiing, the 2008 one with the regular caribou, which we don't find that often either. We have snowboarding, freestyle skiing, figure skating, and bobsleigh. Moving on to the next page. Now these are all complete, you'll see, but there's a couple of gaps here you will see. We have the 2008 colorized puppy, much better design over here, where the color is longer lasting. And we have 2009 regular caribou. Again, this one is hard to come by because of so many Olympic coins. We have speed skating, cross-country skiing, ice sledge hockey, and then men's ice hockey again. The colorized men's hockey. There is a version with the Raise 2 where the colorization was added to the non-colorized strike here, so I've never found one over here. They are findable. We have women's ice hockey, the colorized version, the Cindy Clausen, the colorized version, and then we have Remembrance Day, the double poppy version over here. Then we have the natural, the animals series here. Wood bison, colored and none. Orca, colored and none. And the peregrine falcon, colored and non-colored. Moving on, 2011 to 2015. We have the War of 1812. There's a regular issue 2012 here, but we have Tecumseh, colorized and none. I want to apologize for the pronunciation of Tecumseh here. In my early videos, I would mispronounce his name, so I apologize if anybody noticed that. If you go look at one of my early videos, I used to mispronounce his name. We got the colorized Sir Isaac Brock and the non-colorized. A regular issue 2013 here, and then we have the colorized and non-colorized De Salaberry, colorized and non-colorized Laura Secord. Then we have the Arctic Exhibition. There's two varieties where the frosting is different on each, and the Arctic life in the Arctic with the two different frostings over here. 2015, we have the anniversary of the flag, colorized and non-colorized, and of course the non-colorized poppy over here, one of my favorite designs. And of course on the other page we have the colorized poppy, which is awesome over here. I have not found 2017 regular issue Caribou Quarter because this 2017 they issued the Life for a Green Future instead, and so that one is findable, but I have not yet found one. We also have the centenary or the anniversary of the Stanley Cup over here. And then 2018, 2019, 20, 21, 22. And I have to label these, and through the magic of editing. And there we have the dates. We got the colorized poppy. So we went 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, which I haven't found. And a whole bunch of NIFCs that I have found. One isn't even a quarter. We'll have a look at this as well. 2023, I only have one spot for this, but there are some very lowly minted NIFC 2023s with Queen Elizabeth II. So we'll look at the obverse on this one. But let's have a look at these commemoratives. These are usually given to kids or for weddings or at Christmas. So this one here is a 2012 Christmas one. This one over here is a 2006 Christmas one, which is colorized. We have the 2013 Christmas one I have over here. So there are some for birthdays and births. And these two over here are actually tokens because they have no denomination. These are Millennium tokens. One of each came with one with the 1999 set and one with the 2000 set. And they're the same shape as a quarter. They even have an obverse, but they don't have a denomination on them. So technically speaking, these aren't quarters, these are tokens. Let's have a quick look here at the obverses. So of course, we have King Charles III over here. And here is the two tokens that I told you about. They have 1999 on this one and 2000 on that one. And of course, the Christmas ones that I found coin roll hunting. These are NIF seeds. That is awesome. I am most likely going to have to reorganize my book. I have in my other book over here, since I have these extra pages where I'm storing my quarters. When I need to put a 2027 quarter, I'll need a new page. And so I'll most likely have to reorganize these books. So let's set these guys aside and go right away into my coin roll hunting books. Let's get these guys in the right order here. 2010, 2009, here we go. So these are the books that I put my coin roll hunting finds. Obviously, if I don't have one in my main books, they go in there first before I put one in here. So let's go ahead and look over here. This is the one with the silver. My oldest silver that I found that I have a duplicate of. We have a 1955 over here, 1959, 1961, 64, 65, the 50% silver 1967, the 50% silver 1968, and then we go on to the nickel quarters. Of course, I do not have the large bust because I don't even have it in my main book over there. Moving on to the next book here, 1990. We have the key date over here, 1991. Less than 500,000 minted on here. That's the key date. Everything else is complete. We've already seen all of these commemoratives, so I'm not going to go over them anymore. Here is my, what's this, 2001 to 2009. This one is complete as well. We have found every single one of these modern coins, of course. And then this is 2010 and beyond, and we just lost one over here. There we go. 2010 with, this is another token that I found coin roll hunting. I don't know why I didn't put it in my main book, but here we go. This is, this was issued with a Canada Post set. And again, this is not a quarter. And let's have a look at the obverse here on this one. This was issued with a Canada Post set, and the obverse has it's the Millennium quarter, but this one is different. You saw that the other one had Millennium with a hashtag pattern with the date. This one says 2000 on this side and Millennium on this side, which is very cool. I think I'm going to be transferring this over to my main book. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of this video. Stay tuned for next week's video where I will be going over my 50-cent collection. I hope you enjoyed this video. As I take a little break from coin roll hunting, I'm going to complete the series, and once I go through all of the toonies, I will look at my American collection as well. Those I'll probably we'll look at the state of my American coin collection as well. Well, if you enjoyed this video, I always appreciate a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, click on my logo over here, subscribe. Here is a video that might be of interest to you, as well as a playlist of other quarter videos. Until next time, thanks for watching.